Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to actually, our freshest episode for 2022, Friday Night Live. We are so excited. Welcome, Sean, Marc, thank you again for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first episode for 2022. I wish you all a very, very happy new year. Merry Christmas if you celebrate, or happy holidays, and hope all of you have been safe. You've been able to connect with your friends and family, relax, take some time off, reflect, enjoy, do some Netflix or Stan binges, whatever it might be. I really, really hope all our listeners, you guys had a cracking time, because I can tell you what, we sure as hell did. So this week, the question is not going to be, how has your week been? But I'm going to ask my co-hosts, Sean and Marc, how were the holidays, Sean?
Well, the holidays were they were sublime.
Not chaotic?
Not chaotic, no. They were quite sublime in many ways. But yeah, it was good to pause, good to reflect. And unfortunately, you know, it's never enough time off in our industry. You're always doing something or the other during the break. But yeah, we're getting ready for the chaos of 2022 upcoming, that's for sure.
Looking forward to it. What about yourself, Marc? How were the holidays?
They were good, and I'm still on holidays. And, I'll come back when I'm ready.
Mate, for me personally, guys, listeners, my co-hosts, my holidays were great. I think the holidays truly, the way we kicked off the Christmas party was such a high. And my holidays just stayed the same, and I got to attend a big fat Indian wedding, which was great.
That would have been awesome.
Oh, mate, just amazing. Amazing. I've got some stories to tell. Not on camera. But it was really, really good. But guys, the first episode of 2022, and most people who come on, and for all our subscribers have gone up substantially. So whoever has actually taken up on the subscription break, love you all. Thank you. Share, subscribe, give us some comments. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And for the people who haven't, I'll see you through the year. But coming back, I'm really, really excited about 2022. And today is going to be a little bit more general. Guys, we're going to talk about our outlook towards 2022. We're going to do a little bit of a real estate piece. We're going to do a little bit of a mindset piece. And we're going to do, I've got a very interesting analogy and question and game for our audience to play today. So let's get into it without further ado. So, Sean, let's go straight into the fat here. 2022, everyone in 2021, everyone in 2020, everyone in 2008 always thinks the next year will be an easier year for you to access real estate. And they'll sit on the fence, and you know what we say, our favorite line, whichever camera I'm looking at, is you get splinters in your ass. So
absolutely.
Speaking of which, mate, you are always on the front end for our clients. You've got multiple roles in the business, but you also are heading our acquisition team, and there's some real problems out there, and hence the prices are not softening. Hence access to a lot of people is those people who thought they are smart, but not as smart money, are now missing out completely on some great, great pockets. What's happening? We've started 2022. You've started to contact people, speak to people on the B2B level. What's really happening out there?
2022 is going to be more of the same of a second half 2021, where we saw a massive challenge with...
Bloodbath.
Yeah, a bit of a bloodbath when it comes to buying and selling good real estate. So when I say good real estate, I'm talking about healthy real estate. There's going to be a bit of a shift in 2022 because there's the sentiment of possible things like interest rate rises, supply coming back on the market. But because of labor shortages and because of a whole variety of other material shortages, it's actually slowed down the availability of having good new supply hitting the market. So the challenge we're facing today, or at least let's say in the beginning of 2022, is the fact that there's still buyer demand up here, and then there's available stock supply way down below from a new supply perspective. So there is still going to be upward pressure on pricing during 2022 for healthy real estate. If people want to understand what healthy real estate means, it just pretty much means where your yield variation matches your purchase price, which of course everyone can find out if they get in touch with either yourself or with Marc and pretty much research about it. But more so, 2022 is going to be interesting because I feel it's going to separate the pros from the amateurs. And the reason I say it's going to separate the pros from the amateurs is the best time to be buying investment real estate was always 10 or 20 years ago. The second best time is when you have serviceability, when you have the affordability to go out there and get something done.
That is so well said.
So that's the general outlook, but some exciting suburbs to look out for in 2022 for sure.
100%. I think where people are going to make mistakes, and I'm just going to jump in here a little bit, is the yield bit. If investors don't understand what yield compression is and how it affects capital growth, to put it very simply, guys, what happens is all real estate is good real estate till it's not, right? So to give you a very example, I live in the hills area of Sydney.
King of the hills.
King of the not yet. Let me buy up everything. But what happens is Castle Hill was a great suburb, like Borkham Hills, great suburb, Bella Vista, great suburb. What investors need to realize is often they're trying to replicate what Castle Hill did, what Borkham Hills did. But if I can just remind everyone, Castle Hill 40 years ago was selling for $6,500 for a house and land package. You know what I mean? $300 deposit. So Castle Hill was bush. And where it gets very interesting is people, and again, people need to be very, very careful that they start their search for blue chip real estate, wanting premium real estate. They want the eastern suburbs, they want the North Shore, they want the hills, they want some affluent pockets of Southwest Sydney or middle ring aspirational real estate, and especially Sydney-siders, and they just are chasing that, trying to save the deposit they never will be able to, versus smart money is able to replicate this using interstate strategies. Because, guys, if you live in New South Wales, anywhere, I don't care whether Central Coast or Sydney, guys, we literally are sitting in a crystal ball telling you whatever New South Wales has done, other cities are lagging 10 years behind. And the real estate millionaires you see today have been here for 10, 15, 20 years, like what Sean said. So smart money is moving. People aren't doing that. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but very, very fair point. Guys, if you are still sitting on the fence, you're waiting for this big dip and you think interest rates are going to, they really aren't. And I'm going to do a whole video on interest rate changes and this and that and what that really means. But what you said, if you have quality property, most property, 90% of Sydney's property, I can tell you today, even in good suburbs, are way past the use by date. Bro, do you want to live in a tin roof house that is built with wood, no air conditioning, kitchens that have been built up in the 70s? No. People don't want to do that. Like today, you can see that in the car industry, we're going through a chip shortage. There was a time where people would buy old V8s and, tune them up, and they wanted the power. Today, a new kid is happy to buy a $50,000 hatchback as long as it's got Apple CarPlay. Buyer behavior has changed and what people are willing to pay for from a rental perspective, from a growth perspective. Hence, when you look at pockets such as, say, Marsden Parks and Box Hills, they could have gone to, I don't know, St. Mary's and picked up lots, but why are properties today in the Pond selling for over $1.5 million on a 380 meter square block? It is not that, Ponds is better. No. It is buyer behavior has changed. Yep. There is quality property and shit property, and I want to be a landlord, not a slumlord.
Very well put.
You know what I mean? But coming back to you, Mark, now you do something called State of the Market. And guys, this is not a shameless plug. Honestly, if you haven't watched Mark's State of the Market that he does every Monday or every Tuesday? Tuesday, you should watch it, because if you're someone who likes to understand what's happening, not only in the residential space, but commercial and finance space, you should watch it, because everything is a part of the same thing, right? If commercial property offices are not doing that well, maybe there's a demand for work from home. So work from home will require more rooms in a house. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
There's always a correlation.
There always is. So Mark, something that you do in the State of the Market is really good. So can you let us audience know what State of the Market is?
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, I believe you're one of those people that I know in my life who have a great go-getter mindset no matter what. Just give us a little mindset piece. When people are starting off in 2022, what mindset should they start 2022 with?
So I guess with the state of the market, it is something that we've been working on for probably 6 months now. I'd say even a little bit longer. And we are taking it to the next level. And what I mean by that is providing information that isn't always accessible to the public, number one. The majority of it is because, again, that's where we source our information from as well. But I think more importantly, understanding, like you just said, Kesh, buyer behaviours change, all right? And investment behaviours change as well, all right? Because it's not the same buying a property 10 years ago as it is today, right? Number one, like you said, yields, capital growth rates, et cetera, all of these things change. So when we look at how much is being spent on real estate and the amount of, I guess, risk that there is compared to, let's say, 15, 20 years ago, where, yes, there's still risk, there was higher interest rates and so on and so forth, but I think there was a lot lower entry cost into the market, right, number one. So when you're saving $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, which is a lot of money to invest into the market, you need to make sure that you're going to get a return on that money some way or another, all right? Now, and I think, excuse me, what we're seeing and what we're trying to provide with State of the Market is access to information that people oversee. They're not going to look at things like vacancy rates of commercial office buildings in the CBD, for example, because, you know, I'm buying a property out in Bella Vista. Why do I care about what's going on in the CBD? Well,
It matters.
It does matter. It does. All of these things matter because at the end of the day, we invest in areas with specific growth, right, for our clients as well anyway. So all of this we're trying to put to the market to give a very holistic insight, let's say, into what it is that we invest into for our clients. Because like you said, Kesh, you pointed out something just then, middle ring aspirational. Like if you said that to the average Joe Blow who's bought a couple of properties in his life, do you think he's really going to know what that is?
No.
And how to work with that or around it? No, he's not, right? Or she is not, right? But I think when we get a thorough understanding, and we deal with our clients and explain this all the time, especially when I'm bringing on new clients. I'm saying, guys, you want to buy a property, you don't need me. You don't need any of us, realistically. Go on real estate, sign a contract, deal done. But when you want that property to do a specific amount of, not necessarily growth, but perform a specific way.
Which is based on their personal circumstances.
Correct. It needs to perform how you need it to perform. Now, to project that, no one has the crystal ball, as we always say, right? But to accurately project, and which is what we have done as an organisation for 12 years now, it's pretty hard. And that's where people start to realise, oh, hang on, you know what, the state of the market, the value add that, you know, these guys give us, JR give us, you know, there's so much more to it than just going out and buying a property for the sake of it. Because it's not just buying the property. That's the vehicle, and that's the easy part. All the hard part is the beforehand stuff, is the numbers, it's the studies, it's
Mate,
the
so
research.
well said. I think where a lot of people go wrong is, and all three of us do the same thing, lead the same lives, everything very similar. This is what we do for work, right? Yet all three of us, our investment strategies are very different. Reason being the current requirement to our portfolio. We're all at those stages where now we need to buy properties that will complement existing properties, right? That's the stage.
Yep.
And if you're a blank canvas, you got to start thinking like that. Biggest mistake, the biggest risk movement is not Scott Morrison's announcement or getting rid of negative gearing or interest rates going high. People need to understand real estate now in Australia, especially residential real estate, is almost 9 point something trillion dollars as of today. Okay. 2/3 of real estate, if I'm not wrong, is owner occupiers. The nation is sitting at less than 50% LVR. We're not going to have the big GFC crash. Where people really need to be mindful of is buying just one property, especially just your home, is the riskiest move you can do. That is the riskiest thing you can do ever in your life, right? Because you're solely responsible for that asset. And it's like going and buying, I don't know, putting all your life savings on red on the casino if you've ever played roulette. Do you get what I mean? And people really need to understand that smart money does not sleep. It moves. Because right now, whether it comes to shares, whether it comes to crypto, whether it comes to real estate, everyone that we know is successful, whether you like it or not. Look, we live in a capitalist economy. Now, capitalism has its positives and negatives, and I'm not here to talk to you about capitalism as such, but anyone who's undercapitalized anyone who's undercapitalized. So say tomorrow, let me give you an understanding of undercapitalized. Tomorrow I open a grocery store, right? And I want to compete with Woolies. And I say, I'm going to compete with Woolies with $100,000. You're joking. You need $100 million to get to a location. You got to burn money, right? And these large companies, your Walmarts, your Amazons, they are capitalizing. They are borrowing money, whether shareholder money, whether it's private equity. They are capitalizing because they know if they want to play in this world, whether you're part of it or not, whether you like capital, mate, this is the world we're living in. This is the world. People go, oh, you should buy a car cash. But people, smart money goes, in my situation, I'm better off paying maybe 5%. I don't know what car loan rates are, but whatever, 5% on a car. Because I can go and earn 40% on this capital elsewhere. And I'm going to buy through my business and I'm going to get a deduction. For some people, that might not work. You don't have a... Maybe you shouldn't buy a car.
Yeah. But I've learned about this, right? So there's levels to the game when it comes to buying a car as well. So at the lowest level, you get people that are financing cars because they can't afford them. So they're purchasing cars that they shouldn't be able to buy. And then at that mid-tier level, you're getting people that are buying...
This.
Yeah. And then at the mid-tier level, you're getting people that buy cars in cash because they say it's a depreciating asset, don't do it, so just put cash in there. But on the level right at the top, they still finance cars because of exactly what you said. It's about rate of return. So here's my overall spend, 20% down, 10% down, and I'm earning with the remainder because people right at the top level, they can buy their cars in cash. But all they're doing is instead of paying back at 7%, they're making 10, 15% on the side. That's what it's all about.
Let's talk about an AMG, right? So if I was to go and buy a $189,000 E63, C63 AMG and say, I'm going to go cash, it's depreciating, blah, blah, blah. Maybe in my situation, that $180,000 spent on, I don't know, LinkedIn, Facebook marketing, YouTube marketing might make me $5 million.
Yeah, correct.
Why am I putting it in the car? But if that is not your situation, maybe you shouldn't do the AMG right now. But coming back to the market and being undercapitalized, there's going to be, and I want to warn people about this, there is going to be a lot of rhetoric in the media because the media knows what the way media offices work is, pardon my French, but this shit is getting boring. They talk about boom, boom, boom. Then they got to do the 60 minutes. Then they'll bring in the interest rates and they'll bring in the election. Then they'll bring in this and bring in that. Long story short, none of us tell our clients, oh, buy real estate and you're going to be a billionaire in 6 months. I'm buying real estate for 10, 15 years outlook, right? And so, Sean, I've got a question for you. Marc, this goes to you as well. Have you guys ever played Monopoly? The game Monopoly? You know,
absolutely.
We roll the dice, you buy the properties, and there are different versions of it now, but the original game, you got chance cards and you got the other question, like the other one.
There's a jail in there too.
There's a jail in there too, right? Now, what would you guys say? Forget investing. I really want to simplify this to people and I need them to understand this. What would you say as a strategy? Both of you have played this game. If I kept rolling the dice and I wanted Mayfair, right? I wanted Mayfair and I was rolling the dice and it just never landed there. So that could be a analogy or an example for not having enough deposit funds or servicing. And I go, nah, fuck it. All I want is Mayfair, right? And that's the only property I'm going to buy. And I go round by round, paying with all 3, 4 of us, producer Ryan in there as well. And you guys keep buying the shit ones, the good ones, all of that. What do you think is going to happen to me after a while? Even if I collect 200 every time I go.
Completely, you'll be completely priced out of the market because everything's developed into a hotel by now.
And guys, if you haven't played Monopoly, don't come and talk to me. Play the game first. But that is right. And what people don't realize is they start thinking about, oh, what is my capital growth going to be? What is my rental yield going to... Yes, are they important questions? Absolutely they are. But if you don't do anything, you will be kicked out of the economy. You do not exist. And as harsh as it sounds, the market is fair. They don't care if you lost your job. They don't care if you had a loved one that lost their life. And this is harsh, but it is the truth. It is absolutely the truth. And in a capitalistic economy where the Australian... Now, again, let's talk about this, right? The banks are a huge, big part of Australia's industry. Not because they lend money, but most IT projects happen for banking sectors, right? So many guys working in IT, right? Your ATM delivery drivers, payment gateways. You Uber Eats, there's some bank involved in making sure that Uber works and payments go, right? Do you realize when I buy a property for $500,000, I've only chipped in maybe 75 grand, 50K towards the property, stamps, LMI, blah, 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 right? Who's putting the rest of the money?
The lender, bank.
So you really think the dirty banks who control the world will want to lose their money? Are you joking? Why am I not betting with them? And if you're someone today in 2022 who's sitting there and you have the deposit funds, you have the serviceability, and if you don't know what serviceability is or deposit funds are, that's your first red flag. So come and have a chat with us. We need to do something about it because no joke, they're not going to wait for you. They're not going to. I remember Sean having conversations with people, and I'm not going to name names in cities and suburbs. Mate, just in the last, and this is unprecedented, but in the last 3 months, these guys are guys who had borrowing capacities of, say, about circa 550-ish, and they were going to go into some really cracking suburbs. They're like, oh, we'll look at it next year, right? Fair enough. We never put a gun on anyone's head. We're here to serve. Yep. And if there's something you want to do, we're here to help you. And if it's not, God bless you, and we wish you all the best, right? Those people are now coming around. This is conversation in October. We're coming back in Feb. We've literally come back to work 2 seconds ago, right? Mm-hmm. I ring up Sean and I go, mate, this client's been on a waiting list. Well, they need to get in there. And Sean goes, we need to go back to the drawing board. And go, what do you mean? Mate, there's $100,000 difference. $100,000 difference from October to now. Yep. So your research, your due diligence, you're trying to save $3,000. Is it worth $100,000? Same thing with first-time buyers. Yep. Trying to get a 10 grand grant to buy shit real estate or not buy real estate at all because they can't afford to. And they're missing out on $150,000 worth of growth that they could have recycled.
People are just missing the big picture here all the time.
Yep.
And in 2022, guys, you have to make it your personal responsibility to really, really be on top of the market. Marc, Sean, or I cannot hold your hand, force you. Mate, either you want to do it or you don't.
I saw a really interesting quote the other day, and I can't even remember who said it and whatnot, but they did say something that was relevant to the last 2 years and saying that from, let's say, call it early 2020 to where we are today, there are going to be new millionaires and billionaires created in this space. And if you're not, either one of them, like, okay, not everyone's going to be in that category, and we understand that, but if you're not utilizing this time that we are in with the cheapest interest rates that the world has ever seen since financial institutions have ever been around, well, from what I understand, and, with real estate, not just in Australia, but also in many other parts of the world, going up at phenomenal rates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we understand that you might not be able to jump in now because it's too high, but, you got to stay a little longer and save, whatever it is. But find the next best opportunity and jump on that. Get in.
What is their alternative?
Yes, exactly.
So you're going to sit here and go, well, I couldn't buy this $700,000 property because I don't have the deposit funds. I'm sure as hell not going to start from a $500,000 property, which I can afford to buy. I'm going to wait till I have 700. What do you think is going to happen to the $700,000 property?
Same thing. They'll just get priced out. It'll jump. Every time. We see it happen every year. There's people that we speak to on rotation, we call it. Every 2 years, they go back and they go, you know what, I'm okay to buy that suburb we discussed 2 years ago. It's 100 grand more. Okay, they'll come back after 2 years. You know what, I'm okay to discuss that next suburb you told us to get into, above 100 grand again. So getting in, that's why the golden saying is it's always about, when it comes to capital growth, time in the market always trumps trying to time it.
Yep.
And this goes for people that are property traders and stock traders as well. Long-term stock is more often than not proven to be working when it comes to even share trading. So long-term holding really makes a big difference.
I think, do you know what it is? You talk about this really well. It is the opportunistic mindset where people confuse real estate or shares or even crypto right now. Most people who lost money in crypto were the guys who didn't believe in it first. Now everyone is doing it. They want to do it, right? So it's a mindset problem. It really, really is. And my message out of love goes out to people. Guys, market is not going to wait for you. No one is. I've bought in the peak of the market and I've seen my properties correct by 90 grand. 5 years later, up by $350,000.
Yep. Exactly.
I've been in the market where you bought properties and they are unregistered land, and come to settlement time, you made 300 grand.
And the problem is people are waiting for this magic, like you said, this magic massive dip in the market or this crash.
Why? Why should it
Let's say
happen?
that there is a correction. What is the maximum amount that we've seen as a correction on, let's say, real estate prices
Right, a normal
over
correction.
let's look at the last 10 years. Well, let's go back to the GFC and everything that's happened since then. What's that now? That's 12, 14 years now, I think. Right? Have a look back from there and look at the percentages that it has corrected. I think the last, let's say, 10 to 15 years is probably going to give us, even 20 years, go back to the year 2000, 2002. That should give you enough data to say, is real estate going to all of a sudden hit this massive decline
Right.
at 25%, for example?
Let me give you a very simple example.
Almost time for our subscription break.
It is. When we come back, we're going to talk about when the market corrects, what to do. So guys, this is your chance. This camera, that camera, whichever camera it is. Guys, this is the time to subscribe. This is 2022. We do this out of the love. We want to inform you. We want to educate you. So please subscribe. Show us your love. Leave us comments. Tell us what you want us to talk about. And we'll come back and talk about what to do when interest rates go up. See you soon. We are back from our subscription break. Guys, come on. I'm going to give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to subscribe. So subscribe here, there, wherever. Hit the bell icon. Support us.
Yeah.
We are doing this out of... Actually, we're having a lot of fun. So whether you do or not, doesn't matter. You had the subscription break to do it. I'm back. 2022. If you guys are just tuning in, we were talking about the outlook for 2022, what's happening in the marketplace. And we're just really excited to be back. But before we left, we were talking about interest rates, right? And
Like buying during a correction.
buying during a correction as well, right? So there's a quick fact. And Sean had a very fair point. Not all real estate is made equal, and some real estate is way past their use by date. Should be put in the bin. And that's going to happen, right? And we're going to start to see, like, even if you drive down Old Windsor Road, where we live in Sydney, you can see some properties on the side of the road. You know, overgrown hedges, just bush, and like they don't rent out. Usually the people living in there, you know, a little bit out of the economy. That sort of real estate is going to be repurposed very soon, right? And to repurpose that sort of real estate, you, again, need capital.
Yep.
And to create that sort of capital, you need to start somewhere. You really need to start somewhere. Now, the funny thing is with interest rates, and a lot of people have questions about interest rates and what happens if interest rates go up. Look, I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't see interest rates moving significantly. So if you're paying 1.98%, might be 2.89 or 3.2 or 4%. But anyway, when we do our feasibility of doing any property, we look at 4.5% what happens. But normally speaking, if you own functional real estate in the right location, especially in the aspirational smart money rings, you will start to see that people's affordability to buy real estate will go down. Yes, will you still see capital growth as strong, as quick as you have? No, you will not. But what will be very, very interesting is if you've bought property and you've locked in your interest rate for 4 years and interest rates go up, you will start to see a massive spike in rents in the right locations. Reason being, affordability goes down. Now, guys, you got to understand that today, for example, in the southwest of Sydney, there is a massive shortage. Sometimes you open houses, there are 500 people. Now, this is, say, for example, in suburbs like Gregory Hills and Oran Park and Catherine Fields. Reason being, why aren't they going to the other side of the station, closer to Campbelltown or Minto or Lumia? Because what people have realized is, say, if you're a family of, say, I don't know, you live with your in-laws, husband, wife, 3 kids. Now for you to buy a house in Sydney, no matter where you go, a big family home is 1.4 to $2.2 million.
At least 1.4.
To accommodate a family, you know, in-law accommodation, you got the kids, like you got grown-up kids, whatever it might be. So now what these families are stuck with is they might not have the household income of the servicing. So now they're forced to rent larger family homes. And I still remember having conversations with people, say maybe 6 years ago or 7 years ago, and they'll be like, who's going to live out here? And this is not because of the airport. The airport pressure is yet to come.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? So you got to be very, very mindful when interest rates go up, and if you've got functional real estate that is appealing to people that are part of the capitalist economy, that are people who are earning a living, who are raising children, are spending money to buy cars and TV and go to JB Hi-Fi or Target or Woolies. Those people have requirements, right? And real estate is the most important basic residential real estate is the most basic requirement today. You know, offices used to be very important. Not as much anymore for a lot of industries, but homes have become even more important because they need that spare room. They need that extra space for home office. You know, you can deal with homeschooling kids and doing a Zoom meeting together. 1 year, yeah. 2 years, yeah. 3 years.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. Plus, a lot of people now, so many of our clients work in IT or medicine. Mate, I've had doctor clients who are saying, you know, we were doing telehealth and that was great. Yep. We had a little bit more work life, especially people with younger kids. They love it. They loved it because now when school has started, they're not one partner's having to rush back. Both partners can have careers because they're working from home and they can do the 3 o'clock school pickup.
Yep.
Do you get what I mean? So if you're worried about interest rates, please don't. In a capitalist economy, things balance.
Yep.
Things really, really do balance. Now, Sean, question to you. Now, a lot of people have been priced out.
Yep.
Right? And there is still some great opportunities out there. Great opportunities out there. There's still deals where you can get a 4.5%, 5%, even 6% yield if you know what you're doing. You can still get access to some great real estate. Can you give me insight? Some people are really stuck on buying where they live. Can you just give me a little bit of an insight? The common sense of how should one think to find opportunity outside, and how do you break that mental barrier of, if I can't see the house, I'm not going to buy it?
Yeah. Well, good luck if you can travel all around the country to, you know, get off a plane and see everything and touch and feel everything. If you have the time or the patience for it, sure, go ahead, get it done. For people that want to buy where they live, it's a very old school ingrained thought, I feel. Why I say it's old school is, you know, 200 years ago, you'd want to buy real estate that you could see so that if, for example, the renter that you rented it out to started being funny or doing funny business,
Started a little ice slab in the back.
you'd be able to jump in there and straighten things out straight away. Today, everything's going to be regulated. You're going to have a good property manager to bounce things off. You're going to have documented rental income, documented, you know, you have insurances, landlord insurance, rental, so forth, so on. So for people that want to buy where they live, sure, do it if it's actually in a growing market. Do it if it's actually something that matches feasibility. The main downside risk is you risk the fact that you are putting eggs in the same basket, whereas in Australia it's such a bountiful country where it gives us the chance to balance risk and reward really well across different states that have different strength attributes. So someone who's a very advanced investor generally would have a more diversified portfolio than just lumping all the properties into the one suburb. But there's nothing technically wrong with it if that suburb is something that matches your strategy.
Mate, I'm taking a little bit of your shine here from your state of the market, but producer Ryan, if we can have this document up when I'm talking about this, it will be great. So I just want to bring this. So this is the Home Value Index report on the 4th of Jan. And I want people to understand this. So as an investor, for me personally, I know for a fact I'm not going to live off the equity. I'm going to live off the rent. Right? That's what I want to do. I don't want to liquidate stuff. And yeah, you can structure it. Mate, capital gains tax is going to get you. No matter how you structure, there is going to be tax that is paid. Right? Now, equity is great when you can recycle and buy the next property, but equity really doesn't mean anything if you don't have the serviceability to release it. Now, the only way to improve servicing is to increase your income or pay down debt. And if you have got good rents from the get-go, you buy functional real estate, like you said, that grows in rent, you're much better off, right? So let me give you a quick example of, let's talk about the houses first, then we'll go into the apartment space. So the median house price in Sydney today is sitting at $1.4 million.
Ouch.
1.374. This is a little bit older. By Feb, I think it ticked over 1.4 million, if I'm not wrong. Melbourne's median is sitting at $997,000.
Melbourne the Millie.
Brisbane, believe it or not, median is sitting at $782,000 for a median house price.
Wow.
Adelaide, is sitting at 622,000.
What?
Right?
There's some high-end property in Adelaide then.
There is, right? So now what I'm trying to say to people is this. Last year, this wasn't the situation. All the medians were lower, and the medians now everywhere across have gone up. If the market does correct and you've not made any money, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
With what resources? Because you're competing. You've been going around the monopoly board saying, nah, I'm going to wait till Sean goes bankrupt on 8 properties that he owns. He's not. He's already built hotels. I keep landing on him. I keep paying him money. I'm done.
Yep.
I'm out of the game. I am out. Do you get what I mean? So today, when you look at these prices, you have to look elsewhere. Now, the second important part I'm going to bring up here is gross rental dwellings. Listen to this, right? Sydney, so this is across everything, apartments, houses, whatever. Sydney has the worst yield.
Yep.
Now, if you're not someone who can year on year increase your income, or you have that potential, I don't care whether it is you earn $50,000 or $1 million, you will reach a ceiling. Okay? Sydney, I don't see any point in buying, I live in the hills, I don't see any point in buying a $2 million property that is going to give me $750 a week rent.
Yeah.
That is a sinking ship. That same $2 million in Adelaide will give me 4.5% return. So would you want a 4.5%? Capital growth is a bonus, guys. Would you want 4.5% back on $2 million in the market? Or would you want 2%?
Yep.
Make sense?
Yep.
And when markets yields start to compress, you can start to see that investors are the first to pull out because they can't service them. Because banks say, how much is this property worth? What is the rent you're getting and what is your income? Right? So then what happens is competition reduces. Melbourne, on the other hand, is sitting at 2.7% median.
Yep.
What is very interesting about Melbourne is Melbourne has had the least capital growth out of everyone because they have lagged. So if you want Sydney-like rush and you're someone who can you're okay with a neutral property, not positive cash flow property, you're not chasing, you can go into some real quality suburbs in Melbourne today and really enjoy that. This is your window.
Yep.
Do not come back to me and tell us
Yeah.
that they didn't do it. It's not on me. I've told you. I've given you a golden little tip.
Yeah. One thing for the audience out there is don't sleep on Melbourne 2022.
Don't sleep on
surprise
Melbourne. Oh, it'll hit in the head. Either in a good way where you wake up saying, hey, I'm $1 million wealthier. Oh, shit. I was offered this. And I sat on the fence and I got splinters in my ass. No, but if you're someone who wants some really, really good balance, what's very interesting is Brisbane has been the biggest winner in the short term. So almost 32% growth, capital growth across all dwellings.
In how long?
1 year. So last year,
32%?
32%. Across all dwellings, some properties more than others, some pockets more than others, same thing like Sydney. But what's very interesting is from a yield play for a cyclical market, a capital market, Brisbane and Adelaide, and even Perth for that matter, has very, very strong yields.
Yep.
Very, very strong yields. So if you're someone who wants to build a portfolio, and if you said to me, Kesh, should I go and spend $1.5 million in Leppington? You should have done it when it was $700,000.
Correct.
Because at that point, you were getting $700 a week rent. Today, you're spending $1.4 million and you're still getting $700 a week rent. Rents haven't moved. So these are cities that you should not ignore. And if you have a mental gap of going elsewhere and not thinking that other cities aren't doing anything, again, you're the dude on the Monopoly board who is just going past go while Sean, Marc, producer Ryan are buying stuff.
And we've seen people do that. We've seen people go around the board and come back and go, can we do something? And they just price themselves out every time.
And you know what? I was actually going to say a new client from this week, without going into detail, was a really good example of smart investing over the years. Yeah, he's been buying real estate in different parts of town. And yes, majority from memory were in Sydney. But he did get them at the right time. He was charging healthy rent. So he was charging today's rent but buying at yesterday's price, right? And his earnings from work wasn't even that special, realistically.
Let me give you a small example, and Sean, you'd know this. Let's go back 10 years ago, and let's talk about Southwest Sydney for a second, right? So places like Oran Park, Spring Farm, it's in the bush, like there's no train station. People were buying house and land packages for $450,000, and you could add in a granny flat for $100,000. So You were buying a $550,000 property or $650,000 property with 2 incomes, getting $1,100 a week rent, right? Now those properties are worth $1.5 million. Because they were getting such good rents, their debts are still $300, even if they were interest only till now, right? You're getting $1,100 a week. This guy's refinanced, pulled out a little bit of equity to buy the next one, but kept his debt between that $300 to $500. His current rent from that property is $1,150 a week. He's flipped it to P&I. What do you think is going to happen?
Just pays itself off. Vanishes.
So, like, for sake, honestly, like, put a rubber ducky here.
Yeah.
Producer Ryan is, because I swore,
Quack,
is
quack.
like, mate, more editing for me. Add another
quack,
two.
quack, 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 quack.
But I'm going to leave you guys with this. And guys, 2022 is going to be a beautiful year. You're going to have some great opportunities. You just got to know where to look. And this is not because we do this for work. Please do not underestimate having the right team behind you.
Yes.
Having the right team in any circumstance, whether it's to do with your fitness, whether it's to do with real estate. One person cannot do it all. I am in real estate. I depend on Sean for things. I depend on Marc for things. I depend on so many other people, property managers for things. And because there's only so much time in the day. There is only so much time in the day. Do I understand accounting for real estate? Of course I do. But I still need an accountant and not some, again, all due respect, some $50 shopping center account. I need a real accountant.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because the legislation changes and policies change, and sometimes you could be flooded and not think of an idea, and you got to be creative. And if you look at all your McKinseys, your Deloittes, your top companies, why do they have consultants? Why are they paying some IT guy $180,000 or $2,000 a day to do? Why can't they just go to the Philippines and get someone to do it?
Yep.
Because they value professional. And if you're a professional who's getting valued for your skill set and you're not realizing that you're working for $1 billion company that uses those fundamentals, what are you doing? You're playing a game to fail. If you want to win in real estate, it's less about the deal. Get a clear strategy. Get the right team. If it's not us, no problem. But get a team. Yep. You need an accountant. You need a quantitative surveyor. You need someone who's already done it. You need someone who will sit down with you, run your numbers, understand what's possible for you, and give you a clear roadmap. Because on this board of Monopoly, if you're running solo, rolling the dice, not buying property because you think one day magically you're going to win the lotto, you're winning. You are playing a losing game. Period. Like, we're doing podcasts every Friday. And the people who aren't are playing a losing game. So subscribe, guys. Give us some love. Give us a shout out. Guys, there's anything else you want to let our audience know before we wrap up for 2022? Any messages?
No, just love and support to everyone. And God bless you for 2022.
Beautiful. Marc, what about you?
Have we got a round robin?
Oh, we are. But you got to give our audience a lovely message to kickstart the 2022. Give them an animal. Give them a spirit animal.
Yeah, it is the if we follow the Chinese New Year, it's the year of the tiger.
What a nasty roar.
Year of the pussycat.
Yeah, so it's a good year. It's a good year. So make good use of a good year. It's a powerful animal. Make that move that you've been thinking of for the last 2 years. You've waited for that dip in the market. The dip in the market will come, and then it'll go back up again.
Mate,
So
the
you'll be
only
waiting
dip
forever.
they're going to experience is in the back pocket if they don't do anything. And you know what? And legit.
Yeah.
I've been in those places. All of us are. Forget real estate, business opportunities.
Yep.
I had a person begging me to buy Bitcoin at $200 and told him to
Look, it's all about just get in. And again, whether it's real estate, stocks, shares, bonds, crypto, we don't care.
Yeah.
Just do something.
Yeah, get in and do it with a strategy as well. 100%.
You need a team, bro. Like, legit, you and this is not tooting our own horn. You need a team. Sean doesn't service his C63 at home. He can YouTube it.
Yep.
But he's not going to take a hand-built V8 engine and go, I'm going to figure it out. He will go and drop a couple of $1,000s for someone to do it because that is the health of his car.
That's right.
You will not... If I had cancer, I'm not going to Google how to solve it. I know there's some hippies out there who will chew on, eucalyptus leaves to think there's a solution and will give me by hearing
Well,
this.
this is not medical advice.
But you just, you go to a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm not here playing the guessing game.
Yeah.
You know, even your GP will send you to a specialist. Not that he's less of a doctor or she's less of a doctor. Bro, everyone's got a role.
Yes.
And in 2022, if you're really, really serious about doing something, make a decision. You're only a decision away from changing your life. If you're uncertain, don't procrastinate. Speak to someone. And when you have the right team of advisors around you, supporting you, holding your hand, navigating this world of real estate,
Yep.
come and play Monopoly with me. Let me roll your dice. Let me hold your hand while you roll the dice.
Yep.
Let me tell you when to build a hotel. And let's make sure we dominate and kick everyone else out. Guys, this has been our first episode for 2022. But before we wrap up, we got to do our favorite, Rapid Robins. Sean, Rapid Robins from you. 2022 Rapid Robins.
This is a fun one to kick off 2022. So, gentlemen, what is your opinion on which quarter this year we will get an interest rate hike? Will it be A, no quarter is going to be an interest rate hike, B, quarter 1, C, quarter 2, D, quarter 3, E, quarter 4?
Cash rate's going to stay stable for quarter 1, quarter 2, maybe after the financial year, you might see RBA come and do an announcement, and they might move it from 0.1 to 0.11.
15.
Bro, it doesn't really matter. I don't see any drop. If you're right now paying between 2 and 3% on your home, in this year, you're not going to be paying 8 and 10. And if you are, it's great news. Because if you're an investor, you're going to get so much cash flow. It'll be ridiculous. Guys, interest rates are going to be where they are. Real estate is, or very close to where they are. Nothing to worry about. Real estate is here to stay. It creates employment. The government loves it. New South Wales collected $1 billion a month last year. They're not wanting to make it fail, right? Go Gladys. Gladys got the Balenciagas and the stamp duty. I wish someone could give me that text. Anyway, wrapping up from that.
What do you reckon?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
August 22.
August 22. Very
So we'll
nice.
say-
Hence, watch the state of the market. Let's see who's right. Marc or me. Vote for it in the comments.
Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Marc. It is an honor, again, to come back in 2022 and speak with you guys. And it is fun as always. And thank you, Producer Ryan. If you guys don't know Producer Ryan, he is the backbone of this. He's the guy, brains behind it, always supports us. He is the Iron Man of marketing. If you could just see the setup he's got set up with very limited tech today, but we killed it. Thank you, Producer Ryan. We really appreciate it. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, Friday Night Live.